This encounter between Jesus and Nathanael is quite fascinating because it reveals a lot about us as human beings and about how we relate, how we form judgment, and what happens at the end. This is John's Gospel, chapter 1, from verse 45 to 51. Now listen. Philip found Nathanael and told him, "We have found the one about whom Moses wrote in the law, and also the prophets, Jesus, son of Joseph, from Nazareth." But Nathanael said to him, "Can anything good come from Nazareth?" Philip said to him, "Come and see." Now, before we get to the other part of it, what is happening here? The question from Nathanael is huge, and we can unpack that. Can anything good come from Nazareth? This is what we call prejudgment, or cognitive bias, or initial bias. So Philip shows Nathanael Jesus, or speaks to him about Jesus, and the very first thing Nathanael says is, "Can anything good come from Nazareth?" So Nathanael already has a presumption and forms that assumption about Jesus based on his background, Nazareth. So Nazareth becomes the filter for Nathanael's assessment of Jesus. How about that? This happens to us, either as victims or as creators of this victimhood. Can anything good come from this person? Maybe as an employer, somebody comes before you and your mind already tells you where he or she is coming from, what he or she might be like. Can anything good come from him or her? Even in relationships, some marriages suffer as a result of that. You already formed your judgment about your spouse and what he or she is doing. Can anything good come from him or her? So whatever comes after that is already secondary because the judgment is already formed. We all can be victims of this. A lot of people form judgments, a lot of people have their biases, and their biases come into proper assessment of who people are. Nathanael says, "Can anything good come from this man because of who he is and where he is coming from?" This is a great lesson for us. Many people today are suffering, not just because of what they did, but because of judgments that are formed about them, their color, their race, their ethnicity, whatever they are. Can anything good come from him or her because of who and where she's coming from? That is a wrong assessment. If we go further, we will see how Jesus opens Nathanael up, and eventually Nathanael's impression changes that he ends up with calling Jesus Rabbi. But then, if the opportunity was not provided, Nathanael would definitely go away with the impression of Nazareth as defining the identity and person of Jesus. What a lesson for us to learn. God bless you.